If you can move your hips like this, then your glutes are not tight, and stretching them will only make things feel more tight and painful. You see, just because you feel tightness in your glute doesn't mean that you're actually tight. Hey everyone, it's Dr. Charlie Johnson, physical therapist, and if you are tired of constantly stretching your glutes or trying to release them because they feel so darn tight, or because you've been told that stretching is good, but it's not really helping, then in this video I'm going to share with you the 4 telltale signs that prove your glutes aren't tight and explain why you should stop stretching immediately. I'm going to include a 30-second glute tightness test that tells you if you're truly tight. I'm going to share with you exactly what you need to do to get the fastest relief. All right, so the first sign that your glutes are not truly tight or actually tight, and therefore stretching is not going to be the solution to loosen them up, is that you feel being the key word, tightness, but you have no objective or physical observable restriction in range of motion side to side, meaning the tight side moves physically and observably just as well as the not tight side or the pain-free side, maybe if you have pain in the butt, right? And so how do you know, though, if you have a difference in motion side to side? Well, now I'm going to share with you a simple 30-second glute tightness test to prove whether or not your glutes are tight. So what you're going to do is you're going to sit on a table, sit on a chair, and you're going to take one side, and you're going to get into this figure 4 position. And you're going to let that leg just flop towards the floor, flop towards the table. And you're going to get an idea for how far that knee goes towards the floor, towards the table, and how much range of motion you have. You can see it, I can see it, and if you have some tightness, if you have some pain, just take a snapshot of what that feels like. Now, I'm going to hold my hand here as a measure of how far I can move. And you're going to do the same thing on the other side. So without moving this hand, now I'm going to do this side. And you can see that my hands are pretty much at the same level. So compare side to side. In this example, let's just say I have been feeling tightness or pain in my left glute. Well, it's not actually tight. I understand what you feel and I hear what you're saying. I'm not belittling what you're feeling, but there is no objective, observable, clear loss of or restriction of motion side to side. Therefore, you are not truly tight. You are perceiving the tightness. There's a feeling of tightness. And treating it and getting to the root cause of ridding you of that tightness is different. Now, let's just say the side which is tight actually moves more or has more range of motion, if I could get it there, than the non-tight or non-painful side. Well, what that tells me is that, yes, you may feel tightness, but you actually have more flexibility, less tightness on that painful or on that tight side. So not only is it definitely not tight, it's actually more flexible. And it's possible that tightness that you feel is just a protective mechanism created by the brain to protect yourself from some perceived threat. Or perhaps it's trying to tell you, hey, I'm going to create tightness in that area to create an artificial sense of stability. Maybe we don't need more mobility. Maybe we need more stability. We'll get to that as we move through the signs. The second sign that your glutes aren't actually tight, regardless of what you feel, maybe you went through the glute tightness test, things weren't super clear, or maybe you're just not convinced yet, is that you've tried all sorts of lengthening or stretching of that area to try to release the tightness, but you still feel tight. So if something is tight, if your glutes are truly tight, then stretching them and trying to release the tightness from them should do what? It should eliminate the tightness. But if you're watching this video, my guess is it hasn't. Stretching comes in many shapes and forms. If we want to define stretching as lengthening, taking point A and point B and pulling it further apart, then this can be done via figure 4 stretches, pigeon poses, all sorts of stretches. But also deep tissues, soft tissues, such as sitting on a tennis ball, foam roller, massage gun, any form of compression will take 2 points and pull them further apart. So if you've tried that and it hasn't worked, it's a sign that, well, maybe your glutes aren't as tight as you thought. The third sign is just the inverse. If you subtract stretching from your routine or your treatment program, the absence of stretching, if you're truly tight, should make you worse. But if it makes no difference, if you take away stretching for the next 4 to 7 days, just give it a go. You're going to crave it. You're going to want to poke and pull and prod on the tissues of your buttock because they feel so tight. But if you remove that stimulus and you notice, wow, my tightness is actually less, and or maybe I didn't need to stretch because I feel no worse off. I feel no more tight. Maybe you don't feel any less tight, but you feel no more tight. Then this is a sign that you weren't actually truly tight. In other words, if you're truly tight, then the absence of that which is meant to resolve the tightness and loosen you up should make the tightness worse. But if it actually reduces your tightness, then that's a sign. All right, the fourth and final sign is that if you're truly tight, then tightening should make you more tight. If tightening lessens tightness, then there's no way that you're actually tight. Let me explain. So if stretching is lengthening, and we can agree that if there are 2 points here, if you have point A and you have point B, and stretching could be defined as pulling these 2 points further apart, then tightening would be bringing them closer together. Now, how do we bring 2 points within the tissue of the body, let's just say a muscle per se, closer together? How do we tighten the tissues in the body? We squeeze them, we contract them. And what we see is when we contract a muscle, we overlap the elements, something called the sarcomeres and the filaments within the muscles. We bring them closer together. So by contracting or tightening a muscle through what many would term strength training, we can actually shorten or bring these 2 points closer together. But if we do that, if you truly have tightness, then tightening the muscles or squeezing the muscles via contraction should make them more tight. But if tightening lessens the tightness, then you are never tight to begin with. Let me show you now how you can experience for yourself how tightening actually has the ability to lessen tightness. All right, so the first thing we need to do is find a motion or find an activity that reproduces the tightness or the pain that you experience in your glute. So for a lot of people, it's a simple motion like a figure 4 which causes it. Maybe there's another stretch that you're aware of. Maybe it's walking up the stairs or just walking in general. Or maybe you just feel it sitting here at baseline, in which case, do the motion one time, perform the activity one time, get an idea of how tight you feel. Maybe you objectify and you say, all right, 0 is no tightness, 100 is the most tightness I've ever felt in my life. And when I do this thing, whatever that thing might be for you, I challenge you to go ahead and explore and find what makes you feel most tight. Maybe when I do this, it's medium tightness. All right, so it's a 50 out of 100 if we want to use that scale, tightness. Now we've got a baseline. We've objectified how that feeling or that sensation of tightness shows up for you in your life. The second step is now we need to tighten to see if it can lessen the tightness. All right, so what I'm going to have you do is a very simple exercise. You all have seen this. I call it figure 4 strength. It's also known as the clamshell exercise. So you're going to lay on your side, work the side that is tight just for the sake of the experiment. Put your heels in line with your body. So if I was laying in front of a wall, I'd have my heels here, I'd have my butt, and I'd have my back all in the same plane. Put your hand on your hip. What I want you to do is I want you to open the leg as far as you can, but you're going to notice that if you go too far, you're going to start to rock backwards. So I call that the tipping point. Just go up till you feel yourself wanting to rock and hold it there. And what you're doing, instead of lengthening, pulling 2 points further apart, the glute muscles, what you're doing is you're actually squeezing them and creating some laxity in the tissue. You're bringing the tissue via contraction closer together. And you're going to hold this until you're tired, and you're going to perform 3 reps. You're going to do 1, take 10, 15 seconds, do another, keep your form, hold it, hold it, hold it. You'll feel it working in your bottom. Relax, and then do a 3rd round. 3 holds until you're tired. And then how do you know if this tightening lessens your tightness? Well, now you're going to immediately go back, because you objectified how that tightness showed up for you, you're immediately going to go back to that motion that was tight or painful, or that activity. So you're going to retest to see what happened. So for me, for the sake of this video, I would retest and I would say, that was a medium tightness. That was a 50 out of 100. And now it feels a lot better. Maybe even flops further towards the ground. Or maybe for you, you get up and you take a walk. Or maybe you just sit on up and see how you feel, or you go up the stairs. Regardless of what it is, you test, you find how that tightness shows up for you. You perform a tightening, contracting procedure. Then you go ahead and you retest to see if you're same, better, or worse. If the tightness is same, better, meaning you feel less tightness, or if it's worse, maybe you feel more tightness. If it's worse, don't do it, right? So we're not here to do things that make you feel more of that which you don't want, pain or tightness. If better, then it should make you scratch your head. I just tightened something that I felt was tight, and I actually feel less tight. It's weird. Maybe, again, that tightness was perceived, and your body is actually craving more stability. If the tightness went down, then you could bottle this up and use this movement as medicine and slap a prescription on it. So I would recommend, if this tightening motion reduced your feeling of tightness, then go ahead and do 3 holds until you're tired, up to 2 times a day. Try that for the next 4 to 7 days and report back in the comments. If the exercise that I just showed you caused no change in the tightness or in the pain, you say, well, it didn't do anything, Charlie, then there's likely something else going on, because you've already tried stretching most likely and it hasn't worked. You've already tried a contractile type of shortening exercise to tighten the area, and that really hasn't worked. And so what is going on? Why would you not respond to stretching or strengthening? So what is tightness? Tightness is a feeling. Tightness is a sensation. And what allows us to feel or experience any sensation in the body? Well, it'll be our central nervous system. And it doesn't mean that what you feel isn't real. You feel it, therefore it's real. It feels very tight right in the glute, but it's possible your brain's making a bit of a mistake. And it's possible the tightness that you're experiencing is just a false alarm created by the brain to protect you from some perceived threat or danger that has maybe not physical origins, but more psychological origins. There's dis-ease within the central nervous system, and because of that, for whatever reason, it's manifesting as tightness in the pelvic floor, in the glutes on one side or both sides, or maybe it jumps around, or maybe in the back or the leg, sciatica. Either way, this would explain why you stretch and you strengthen and you try to release and do all these different things, and everyone's targeting the tightness in your glutes, the pain in your glutes and your back and your butt and your legs, but it's just not working. Well, is it possible it's not working? Because it's not a problem physically in the body. There's not an issue with the tissue. Instead, your central nervous system, your brain, is actually the cause. So are your glutes truly tight, or is it a perception? Is it something that you feel, but it's not backed up by objective evidence? Let me know your thoughts below in the comments. And if you're looking for other tips and tricks and strategies, I help people all around the world dealing with back, butt, and sciatica problems. Be sure to check out my other videos for more help.